Encounter with ISIS is a 2015 espionage thriller by the British author James Ward, Me. It's one of many novels in the now finished Tales of MI7 series, set chiefly in London and featuring a small number of recurring characters. As its name suggests, Encounter with ISIS addresses the relation between the UK and Islamic State in Iraq and Syria. ISIS, a jihadi army which in 2015 had overrun large parts of West Asia. Part of what I wanted to address was its appeal to a small number of British Muslims. Interestingly, between 2012 and 2016, more than twice as many young women left the UK to join ISIS than left any other single country, although the absolute figure was still very small, 33 in all. It's tempting to say that ISIS had nothing to do with mainstream Islam, but that doesn't quite ring true. If it did, there'd be two different phenomena. For the purposes of this novel, I developed its contrast with Sufi Islam, which in most of its versions is tolerant and even ecumenical. My point was simply the common sense one, that Islam exists in a variety of forms, some at least fully compatible with a respect for human rights. But that does mean that in one of its aspects, Encounter with ISIS is a kind of apology for progressive Islam. It begins with a long discussion between the protagonist, a man called John Mordred, and his colleague Alec Cunningham, concerning a 14-year-old girl, the daughter of a government minister, who has apparently left the country for Syria. Amongst other things, that exchange covers the age at which a person might be considered morally responsible, the very possibility of brainwashing, and ISIS's putative appeal despite its savagery, and it thus helps set the novel's philosophical agenda. The narrative quickly becomes exploratory. In my view, the point about a novel that addresses contemporary issues isn't to create fictitious counterparts of existing realities and somehow tick them off, although many novels do seem to work like that, but to ask informed questions about what might happen next in the real world. We know that ISIS had global ambitions and that one of its main sources of revenue was oil, so it would probably have tried to capture more oil fields. We also know that once repressive regimes become established, especially when they're new, there'll always be opportunists elsewhere who'll turn a blind eye to their brutality and try to form profitable collaborations. In terms of a villain, it would have been easy to create an evil mullah, someone resembling Abu Omar al-Baghdadi, ISIS's leader at the time, but that would have added nothing. Instead, I plumped for an Englishman who sees ISIS as the means to a highly lucrative end. What he and that organisation together have planned is an invasion of the Arabian Peninsula. We're in the realm of speculation now, but in 2015, such a thing didn't seem unlikely. As well as being oil-rich, Saudi Arabia is home to Mecca and Medina. Anyway, following his discussion in the canteen, Mordred expects to be sent in pursuit of the girl, but instead he's sent on a mission to find the missing son of a private intelligence firm's CEO in Britain. MI7 has links with this organisation, and kidnapping and extortion attempts are a possibility. The CEO is more candid than Mordred expects, and the boy's disappearance begins to look even more mysterious. Of course, it turns out that the boy may also have gone to Syria. Not that there's any sign of either he or the missing girl anywhere. Pretty soon Mordred has theories of his own, and they fly in the face of the consensus. Although nowadays Islamic State is more or less finished, I do think Encounter with ISIS continues to be relevant. Maybe I would say that. Its biggest question is, what should our response to a significant evil be? John Mordred, Gina Fairburn, the woman he's in love with, and Mordred's colleagues, Ian and Thelma, all represent different valid possibilities, and they're all fully explored. The reader's left to decide. Anyway, there we are. That's Encounter with ISIS in a fairly abstract nutshell.